can better partner with the police department as well as the school district working together in a way that benefits our student, not just polices them in a sense.
Agreed. Trustee McCohen.
Two policies in the work. One is a thoroughfare policy, which is kind of shorthand for a policy that makes clear that people can't just loiter in school buildings for no reason, basically, which is probably going to end up just being an amendment to the facility use policy, which we recently adopted, because that's where it fits. And what we adopted may or may not be good enough already, but we're asking NYSBA to review it specifically for that issue and see if it's adequate.
What incidents brought this about in terms of a deeper dive into that?
My understanding is there was someone on a school property who wouldn't leave.
Yes, and the police department recommended that we look at a thoroughfare process, particularly for central office, so that as visitors come into the building, first of all, they are escorted to wherever they're expected to be, and that they don't have free range of the building. And if they are called to enforce such a person or a policy, that there would be some protocol in place that gives them something that they could substantiate whatever action they needed to take.
Right, so we've asked NYSBA for precedent on that and to incorporate that into our facilities use policy. The other thing is to follow up on what Trustee McDowell just addressed, is not a policy, but some districts have what's called a letter of understanding between the school district and the police department, specifically addressing police conduct in school buildings and the relationship between the police and security force, when parents are called, who makes decisions, those kinds of issues, which again is not something that is a law or policy per se, but it's very helpful along the same lines as what Trustee McDowell just addressed, for a police department to have an understanding with the school district when they come in, what their roles are and are not, and vice versa. And when as a district, the security guards, so everyone's very clear, a security guard says, I can handle this versus now I need to call the cops. And we want very clear guidance on when the security forces and the police forces interact and how. So I already have some samples of that actually, but I definitely, at this meeting, we should show them to Mr. Rosario and the police officers and get their thoughts as well before we can present something for the whole board to look at. But that's the concept.
In terms of updating this policy, can we also address for parents, I forget which event I was at recently, and some parents were talking about when they were allowed into a building, they wanted to see the school, how you make an appointment. If we can talk about the days that are available to parents to see that, and then also highlight that the flip side of that is if we just let anyone in at any time, it's oftentimes disruptive to the workflow of the building as well as the safety of their own children. So the flip side of you being allowed into the building on certain dates is that on other dates, there's an expectation that not just anyone can walk into a building and walk around.
Yeah, I think what's prompted this particular discussion on the thoroughfare policy is I think we already have a policy in place actually that clarifies basically the principal is who makes the rules, right? A parent can't just walk around the school for no reason. Like you have to check with the principal, you have to get permission.
Yep.
They escort you. I don't think there is an equivalent thing for this building because there is no principal of this building, right? So part of the thoroughfare policy is addressing the same issue in this building. Right, this is the principal of this building. But just to clarify, I think parents have an understanding when you go to a school, you can't just walk around.
Yeah,
We need to have the same understanding for this building.
this building.
I have a question. We are, the superintendent singing out, I guess we're identifying a lot of out-of-district students in Mount Vernon. And I looked at the policy, I guess it was just a broad policy. It didn't really identify anything. I guess it just says, I think that we just disenroll them. I think we need to have a policy to fine parents. It should be something when they enroll, a document when they enroll that, they will be fined if they move out of district or if they're not in district. We should have some type of, I'm suggesting, I'm not saying we shouldn't, we should talk about it, but There should be some type of fine if we have students that are enrolled in our district that don't live in our community.
There are districts and,
Because I remember
that
hearing
bill
them.
them for.
I think we
if
should.
If you're educated, if the cost to educate that child is $15,000 a year
think we
and
should.
they're illegally,
I think
there are
that's something
districts that
we need to
pursue
talk
that.
about. I think that's something we need to talk about and enact a policy.
And you would have every right, the district would have every right.
Yeah, I'll
to do
check.
so.
I thought we had something to that
We don't
effect
have,
already.
any-
We don't?
I looked, I didn't see anything.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if I was looking in the right place, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Who said we do?
Considering the basis of our community, for the students that attend here, what's the likelihood of us succeeding, proceeding?
Well, we just need to
Well,
put
we-
it out there.
You know where those end up a lot of the times.
Yes.
Well, we just need to put it out there.
Yeah.
That's always an issue. But you're saying we do have a policy already in place? Can you clarify?
Yes, around maybe 6 years ago, we put that policy in place, the board voted on it. I would have to go look for it, but we had that because that was a big concern of ours, like 6 years ago. But that policy was voted on that board. at that time.
And we find them?
Yes, I mean, we tried to find them, but they leave.
No, do we find them? Do we impose a fine?
Yes, we tried, but we didn't get it from them.
Right.
Because of that. But we tried.
Electability is always the problem.
Yeah, regarding fee schedule for the building use policy, Mr. Policio has dug some up from other districts in terms of what they charge. I asked him to review that because some of the fees that we're currently, charging applicants are just unreasonably low and cannot maintain our facilities, and we can't be asked to bear the burden of the use of the facilities, just collecting janitors or custodial fees, and not some type of fee that makes up for the usage, the wear and tear. So we'll be reviewing that in our committee and be bringing that to the board for a vote, and if all goes well, we could implement it in.
Well, just to clarify, we have an existing policy about using our facilities, and the policy includes a provision for a fee. We do not specify in the policy what the fee is, and we can discuss it as a board. My personal opinion is that's way too nitty-gritty for a
that's
board
not-
vote.
yeah.
I think our policy should just say, you have to pay a fee to use our buildings, and it should be left up to the facilities department. I do agree it is very wise to consult with the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and frankly, even the Policy Committee, to make sure that we're somewhat consistent with other districts, we're kind of not being insanely high or low. And, but we're not going to say a policy is $27 to do this, it's $1,500 to do that.
Basically, our policy will leave it flexible.
Yeah, it
to have
is,
a-
and it
there is
currently
a
is.
fee-
You can change your fee
A
schedule.
fee schedule, that there will be
A
a fee
level
schedule.
system. New York City gauges their events by ABC level system. Meaning that if you have an A-level event, this is the rate for it. A-level event meaning it's the highest wear and tear. They also level their facilities that way, so depending on your event, you can't have this type of event at this particular facility. You can have it at a C-level facility, and it's gauged on a C-level pricing system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but that's how I know New York City.
But by all means, review the fees, increase them quickly to a reasonable amount. Don't wait for a vote. Just-
What I've seen is some of the neighboring jurisdictions like White Plains, instead of labeling the event, they label the organization A, B, or C, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're a city agency, whether there's some reciprocal agreement, and then based on what your category is as a broad stroke organization, is where you fit into the fee schedule.
Yeah, and to be clear, our policy, I know we made it flexible enough that you can have a regular fee schedule
Right.
that you stick to, but we also, as a district and administration, has the flexibility to, if you're doing a unique event that causes unique wear and tear, you're going to get charged a unique fee for that unique wear and tear.
Absolutely.
And we did enact upfront payment. Is that
Yes,
correct?
it's, I think a deposit is, I forget how many, 10 days in advance you have to put a deposit down, and the entire fee,
500 or 20%, whichever.
And pay before the
and the
event.
entire amount must be paid by the business day before the event.
Right, that's another place where I think we should probably change that. I think that's, I used to be in the event business, and and we would require 5 business days before full payment. Because what happens is that you take the opportunity away from someone else, and even at 5 days to, let's say, book the space, and especially if they cancel. And the other thing is that you don't want to wait till the day before, because they can say, oh, I didn't have the money today, I'll pay it tomorrow. The next thing you know, the next day is the event. So there's no sufficient buffer there between the time that their money is due and the time that the event is scheduled.
Yeah, my recollection is we discussed that 5 days, 3 days, 1 day, and I'm just going off of memory. My recollection from the conversations we had was that in order to, especially sometimes people use our facilities for fundraising events, and the discussion was, you know, it's hard when you have a fundraiser to pay before you get the money, if you're getting the money at the fundraiser, but we did not think it was appropriate to make any kind of exception for that, and we really do want to be serious about people paying up front or they don't come in, but we thought at least giving them till the close of business the day before gives them a last chance to get their fee together, whatever it may be. And I think really more than anything, it comes down to a matter of enforcement. Like, we have to be serious about it. If they don't pay, you don't get in. And if we're not serious about it, then no one will take it seriously, just like anything.
Okay, well, yeah, Michael, let's take a deep,
Yeah.
another look at that. And again, it may be.
I do agree with you. If I'm projecting my hopes, right? If our district becomes the amazing banner district that we all know it will be in 3 to 5 years, when we have such high demand for use of our facilities and people are triple booked for using the pool on weekends, may, you know, God bless us all. If that happens, then I will 100% be in favor of moving that fee up so we can accommodate anybody who wants to use it.
Yeah, or, you know, let's see what happens if we run into any trouble with it. That's the other thing. We could be a little bit more reactionary.